We're certainly experiencing an enormous backlash. But what is the backlash against? It's maybe against globalization, it's maybe about technical change, but I think it's actually about something deeper. It's about the feeling that governments have failed. And so it's not necessary, for instance, for people to think that the economy is doing badly. The economy in the United States was doing pretty well last year during the presidential election, and there wasn't really any big reason to be dissatisfied with the Biden administration, or the story of the recent elections in Poland. Poland is growing spectacularly. It's an enormous success story. But people feel that the governments are failing, that they're not doing things. And I think they're right about that in some ways. They're right in thinking that the governments are not doing what they need to do on the provision of medical services. They're not doing what they need to do on the provision of education that's open to everybody. Education is a problem. It's a source of resentment. And housing is a big problem, I think, in almost every advanced industrial country, that it's difficult or impossible for young people to find somewhere to live. And those areas seem to me to be the areas that generate the backlash. And those are also the areas where I think there are possibilities of providing good policies, but they're not, I think, best expressed in terms of classical macroeconomic policies. They're not even really best addressed in terms of industrial policy, but it's very, very micro stories of how to improve education, how to improve medicine, how to improve the availability of housing. I feel that the discussion last year was more useful than the declaration itself. It's an important discussion to have, but it also seems to me that we're more aware now of some of the problems of the world, and I think they also need to be addressed in terms of a future declaration. So, for instance, we're living in this amazing period of very rapid technical change. It's more rapid than any period that the world has seen before. We're thinking about rapid advances in artificial intelligence. We're thinking about the possibility of artificial general intelligence. It's going to transform the way that people work, and we're very unfamiliar with how to deal with that. It's going to require a lot of energy. We're going to think about how to get that energy in a way that doesn't destroy the environment, because the energy requirements for this data processing are enormous. And finally, it's got big geopolitical consequences in that this transition, whether it's a green transition or a transition to AI, is very, very heavily dependent on strategic minerals resources, and most of those at the moment come from China. The EBRD did a striking report a few years ago on how it's Chinese metals and Chinese minerals that are key to the green transition, and that, I think, is true even more today. And the question, for instance, is how do you develop resources in the Arctic? What happens to the countries who want to develop resources in the Arctic? It seems to me that this is something that's driving the United States at the moment, but it's also driving Russia. It's going to drive conflicts between Russia and Norway. It's going to drive conflicts between Russia and the EU. So we're going to have to think of the geopolitics of this all much, much more explicitly than the original Berlin Declaration did.